Most beginners who become appointment setters never actually find the true success they want. And it's not necessarily because they can't find the right job. It's because nobody shows them an actual proven roadmap on how they can actually scale to 5-6K plus months as a setter. So if you want to skip the next 6 to 12 months of just trial and error and constant failing and instead get results 10 times faster, watch this. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ben Hackett. I've been doing appointment setting now for the last couple of years. My biggest month personally was around 5K USD in commissions. And I've helped other people to get into setting and make good money. Like Fabio here, for example, where his personal biggest month was over 6K in commissions. Or like my client Nick here, for example, from Jamaica, who made 3K a month USD as an appointment setter. So in this video and training, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to become the best appointment setter possible so you can actually land whatever role you want and scale to 5K plus months for yourself. So without further ado, let's get things started. All right guys, so welcome to the Appointment Setting 2026 course. And before we dive into any sort of framework, scripts, how to get jobs, for the very first module, I want to go over mindset and expectations, because for appointment setting, guys, this is not going to be easy, and it's not an easy side hustle get rich quick. And I want you guys to all have the right and correct expectations before diving into this, okay? Which leads me onto my very first point, which is don't expect fast results. This is not a get rich quick scheme, okay? Most beginners enter this industry believing that I'll hit my first 10K month in my first month. It'll be easy money. I'll pass interviews fast. I'll land a role right away, etc. But the reality check is, guys, appointment setting, it's not an easy, quick side hustle you can do for an hour or two a day. It's a sales job at the end of the day. It requires good, real sales skill. But more importantly, you will make mistakes. Results will take time. And really, for the first 2 to 4 months, it may be slow if you're new. If you're brand new to setting, don't have a great skill set yet, you're starting out, the first couple of months, you may not make that much money. Now, to be clear, you still can make good money, and it's possible to hit, for example, 5-6K months at the beginning, but don't expect and have that expectation that that is what's going to happen, okay? Ideally, you probably make mistakes. It'll take a bit longer than expected. So just don't have the mindset of you'll get rich quick, okay? Treat this more of a long-term focus, which goes directly into my second point, which is think long-term, not short-term, okay? Because when it comes to appointment setting, guys, short-term thinkers, they rush, right? They're chasing money. They quit when results are slow. They jump from opportunity to another, and they essentially panic when life gets hard. And the reason why is because they start appointment setting because they want to make money fast. They're thinking short term. They want to make money quickly, and that's not going to be the case. Like I mentioned, you won't get rich quickly. This can take time, especially if you're trying to build a good skill set. It'll take time. The money will come, but you need to be patient and think more long term. While the difference between people who are short term and long term thinkers, for example, focus on daily improvement. So trying to get better, for example, at maybe passing interviews, filming Loom videos, practicing your conversation skill set and role plays, getting better at just the skill, actually build real conversation skill, being patient because results take time, and stay focused on inputs, okay? Because the people, guys, who fall in love with the process of becoming a great setter and the ones who hit, for example, 4 or 5K months, they ask themselves every day, what can I do today to get better? Where can I improve 1%? And what skills can I sharpen, okay? Because the best setters focus on mastery, not shortcuts, okay? So I want to basically make that clear. Setting, you won't get rich quick. This is not a new opportunity that's going to make you like a millionaire in the next 30 days or any crazy income claims, right? You can make really good money, good, consistent income online, but you need to think more long term. In the beginning especially, it may take time to get results because you're learning, getting better, but the more you improve, the better you become at, for example, the actual job, and you get a better skill at appointment setting, you will start to make good money, okay? Which now leads me into point number 3, which is this is a long-term game and commitment wins. Like I mentioned so far, success does not happen in, for example, 2 weeks or 30 days. Or even your first month. Sometimes your first month can just be like a fuck up month. You make a bunch of mistakes, you learn from it, and you move forward, right? And it's because you will be learning a high income skill. And it takes time, right? You're going to fail, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to struggle, you're going to learn, you're going to improve, and it's all normal, right? It's all part of the game, okay? So what I say to people who, for example, I work with one-to-one, is you want to commit mentally to doing appointment setting for the next 6 to 12 months. That doesn't mean you have to stay in that appointment setting position. I've seen some people move up to, for example, closer or setter manager. Everyone's journey in terms of pace is different, but when starting out, and if you're new, for example, commit first mentally 6 to 12 months. And the idea behind it is, instead of just like thinking, okay, I want to make my first 10k a month or 5k a month in the next 30 days. If that doesn't happen, you get discouraged, you quit, and you ultimately fail. While if you think long term and say to yourself, okay, I'm going to commit to this for the next 6 to 12 months and focus on mastery, actually get good at my skill set. Forget about the money, detach from the money, and just focus on becoming a really, really good setter. And I promise you guys, with this long-term thinking mindset of actually focusing on mastery instead of just money, the money will actually come and you'll make more money because you're going to perfect your skill set first. And once you've perfected the appointment setting skill set, you can walk into any offer and make money because you know what you're doing and you know how to perform well. That's why I say think long-term. Don't think short-term cash, think long-term, right? Focus the short term on building a good skill set, and then long term it'll pay off. Okay. And the next point, guys, is honestly a very, very common one, and this is not even for like appointment setting in specific. This can really be like, give an example, it's really anything, any opportunity in life, right? Which is called the valley of despair. And this happens in every new skill opportunity, and appointment setting is no different. Okay. You may have heard of it, but if you haven't, here's what the emotional cycle looks like in the valley of despair, right? So let's say you start a new opportunity, like appointment setting, for example, a new online business model that's like an AI agency, something trending, for example. You get started. You're very excited. New opportunity, it's going to be great, etc. Once you start doing the work, you realize it's a lot harder than you expected, but you keep going. You're not giving up yet. But the more you go, you realize it's getting harder and harder and harder. And eventually, you hit the valley. And this is where you realize this is nothing like I imagined, right? You start this thing because you thought it was going to be easier, you're really excited, but the more you do it, you realize it's actually a lot harder to get results than I realized. And this is where 99% of people quit, because it becomes hard and they chase the new shiny new object or opportunity because they're trying to find something easier. And this is actually a cycle that will repeat forever, because I'm telling you guys, the reason why most people fail when it comes to making money online is actually down to this. They start something new because it's a brand new opportunity, they think it's going to be easy, let's go, they're excited. But once they start doing the work, they realize, they get to a point where it's actually a lot harder than they realized. They're maybe not getting the results as fast as they imagined. It's tougher work. And that's where people jump ship, because they're looking for an easier opportunity. And that's why people say broken stuck, because they're always chasing the next new opportunity, the next easy thing. Like, for example, I've been in the online space for a while. At the beginning of 2024, growth operating was a huge opportunity. Everybody was throwing money at it. A lot of people didn't work out for them because, again, they were coming into this thinking it's a new opportunity, easy, etc. Now AI agencies, right? I have friends who run AI agencies, but there's tons of beginners who just come into this thinking it's going to be easy, because obviously new opportunity, new objects, same idea. They hit the valley and they jump to the next thing. Okay, so I want you guys to avoid this. And the reason why is because this will keep you broke, and just this won't benefit you if you're keeping jumping and jumping and jumping. While the ones who actually find success are the ones who actually stick with it. Because here's the ugly truth that I want to tell everybody, including you watching this video, is anything that has a great potential to bring you good results is never going to be easy. Not even appointment setting, training for a marathon, for example, or an Ironman, or trying to get to 100 kg bench press in the gym. Anything that is worth achieving is always going to be hard. And appointment setting is no different, right? Appointment setting can help you make a really good, consistent income online. You can travel, you can live a better quality life, but it doesn't mean it's going to be handed to you. Do you know what I mean? Nothing like that is going to be handed to you in life. You need to put in the work and do your part to make it happen, okay? And with the whole Valley of Despair example, this is a very real thing that happens to everybody. It's happened to me as well. So the solution is to stick with it, okay? Keep going regardless. Once you hit the valley and you realize it's a lot tougher than you imagined, you just want to keep on going and just keep working, because now you realize, okay, I understand how this actually works, what it's actually going to take. I'm going to commit and go all in. And these are the people that actually find success. It's not rocket science. It's not a crazy opportunity. It's just the people who hit the valley of despair. They didn't quit and jump to a new ship or a new business model. They stuck with the thing they started and just kept doing it, getting better, improving every day, and they find success, because appointment setting isn't sexy, but it works. And as long as you just stay committed, you keep working, you don't give up, you will find success. Okay? Now, number 5 is detach from outcomes, focus on the inputs that matter. I've kind of touched on this already, but I want to just bring it up again. The biggest thing I notice when it comes to beginners, guys, who actually fail and unfortunately don't get the success they want, is because they're obsessing over, for example, money, commissions, booking lots of calls to make money, like results. And this leads to, for example, rushing conversations, spamming booking links to any person at all in the DMs, for example, copy-paste responses, very poor qualification, low show rates, unhappy closers, and risk of getting fired. And the reason why this happens is because if you're in an appointment setting role and your sole focus is just on making money, like as soon as possible, you're just trying to make money, it's all you're thinking, what's going to happen is you're going to approach these conversations with people differently, because you're so attached to making the money, because you want the outcome so badly. You're going to rush conversations, cut corners, and just try book as many people as you can. And a setter manager once told me this when I was still a beginner setter, and he said, it's better for you, Ben, to actually book 3 to 4 calls a day, but these calls are extremely qualified. You take your time, you make sure you do everything in your power to make sure you're booking a good quality lead, compared to booking 15 calls rushed. Even though the 15 calls, way more volume, right? I've done way more technically in my job, book calls, right? But the reason why he said the example of doing 3 to 4 qualified people a day instead is better is because those people, if I do my job right, they'll have a lot of urgency to want to learn more about how we can help them, the right intent, and way more likely to close. While if I just rush conversations and just try book as many people as I can as possible, I'll end up booking a ton of unqualified prospects because I didn't qualify properly since I rushed the conversation. And that actually hurts your performance, okay? So essentially the alternative is detach yourself completely from the outcome, okay? What I want you guys to do, you watch this video right now, when you're in an appointment setting role, phone setting, DM setting, whatever role you get, don't put all your energy and focus on just making the money. Instead, transfer your energy into the inputs needed from you to make the sale inevitable. And that comes from, for example, having high quality conversations. So actually taking your time in the DMs to actually qualify people properly, building rapport with prospects to build more trust, understanding the leads so you can really understand how you can potentially help them, following SOPs, follow-ups, consistency, good behavior. Good behavior means like making sure you're doing the necessary things to book a qualified lead. And that's my example here, right? Quality over volume is always better. But guys, just to really sum it up, guys, if you focus your energy on just making money, you'll make mistakes, you'll book a lot of bad calls, and unfortunately you actually won't make money, funny enough. While if you just detach yourself, you don't care about the money, like it's going to happen, it's already done. What you're going to do is focus on the inputs needed to actually set a good call. And if you focus on that, just booking really good qualified prospects on the calendar with the closer, you will make money. Like, it is literally inevitable. Why? Because you did your job correctly and you did what was needed to book a really good call for the closer. Okay, that's my point there. And for number 6 then is take this role seriously and build rock solid confidence. Okay, and I say this because appointment setting is not a cheap side hustle or a part-time gig. Like, when I mean part-time gig, I mean like a 2-hour a day hobby, right? Or something you casually can do from your phone. Appointment setting is a real job. You know, it's a professional role. You're part of a sales team. You have a position with responsibility. If you're a DM setter, for example, your responsibility is to book all these leads on the calendars and have good quality conversation. So this role requires focus and structure. Like, when I was doing setting full time, I did not treat it like a side hustle. Like, I was locked in. You know what I mean? I was working. I was making sure I was on top of things because you have to perform well, right? And what I've seen personally is the best setters, they have a good work routine, right? So if you're somebody who maybe performs best in the afternoons or the evenings, you know yourself better, find a setting role where you can work during those times and structure your day well for that. Because with setting, you don't have to work 8 hours a day, right? I've seen setting roles where setters work maybe 4-5 hours a day. It doesn't really matter about how much time you work. It matters how efficient you are in those hours you work. So setting up a very good work routine that works for you, that can help you show up daily and stay consistent, right? Because a big thing as well is you need to be consistent, right? It's in my opinion, it's better for you to, for example, just be consistently booking 4 to 5 calls a day, compared to like very sporadically. One day you book 10 calls, one you do 3, one day you book 7, 2 days in a row you book nothing, then the next day you book 1 call, then back to 10, then 3. It's just up and down crazy. Like, consistency is much, much better, okay? So essentially, setting up your work schedule that works best for you in a quiet environment like I have here, work and focus environments, so coffee shops and office, whatever works best for you, so you can focus and be efficient in the hours you do work, so of course you can make good money. And my final point for the mindset, guys, is you will have bad days, and that's going to be completely okay. Okay, this doesn't really get talked about, in my opinion, but even the best sellers I've seen, they will have days where, for example, nobody books, leads just like don't get back to them, so they ghost, disappear. Maybe the ads from the business slow down, conversations go nowhere, performance dips, and it's all part of the game, right? Not every day is going to be a fantastic day in a setter, right? But the reason why I want to bring this up is because, you see, bad setters, when this happens, they panic, right? Maybe their numbers drop, they don't book in any calls. If they're attached to their money, they start to stress. They're like, shit, I haven't booked any calls, I'm not going to make any money. And this leads then to like poor decisions in the inbox, for example, if you're a DM setter, because since you haven't booked any calls, you're now trying to rush conversations to book more calls so you can start making money, and you'll just book terrible leads since you're rushing conversations and not qualifying people properly. Okay, so when this happens, the alternative and the best way to go about it, guys, is if you didn't have the best day, maybe you didn't book any calls, things were slow, ask yourself, did I control the controllables today? Okay, as a setter, this is the most important thing. You can control if marketing goes down or if the ads aren't working anymore. You can control those things, but what you can control is your own actions and what you can control. Like, for example, these are all the inputs here. So did you follow up properly? So maybe, for example, if marketing is down, ads are down, so there's very few new leads coming into the business, maybe you can reach out to an old pipeline of leads who had a sales call in the past but never closed, and try and re-engage and start a new conversation to see if we can take them anywhere, right? Get resourceful, okay? Volume as well. Did you increase your volume? Let's say, for example, same idea, no new leads. Did you do more follow-ups, do more outbounds to try and get more conversations, right? Point is, all these examples here are just things you can control. So if you have a bad day, as in like you didn't book any calls, as long as you put all the controllables, as long as you did everything in your power to try still get good results, you're doing amazing. Okay, that's all the business asks for. If they're struggling with marketing, ads are not running, for example, there's problems, If you just take your foot off the gas and get lazy and complacent and just don't put any work, then it's your fault and you're not contributing. But if you're still trying, like I mentioned there, reaching out to older leads, increasing follow-ups, doing more outbounds, for example, you technically did not have a bad day, okay? Because you're still doing the controllables and it will pay dividends for you, okay? But overall, this is the summary of the very first module, mindset. I want to give you guys just the clearest expectations. So before we really dive into the tactical stuff, you're thinking about this the right way, okay? But overall, just summarize in a couple of points here. Results take time, so don't expect to make big money straight away. It takes time, okay? Mastery comes from consistency, so the longer you do setting and get better, the better you'll become. Quitting, of course, goes without saying, destroys your momentum. Quality matters more than volume. This is a real job that actually requires real effort from you, and bad days don't define you, and controlling inputs is everything. Control the controllables. Always control what you can control, okay? But that's it, guys. That is the mindset module, and if you do this and if you follow this, you will already be much better than way more setters I've seen in the industry who are, for example, rushing conversations. Like, they're just so focused and attached to the money, they make mistakes. If you can actually free yourself from that, you will do so much better. Alright guys, so now we are going to start module 2, which is all about conversation framework. So essentially, how do you actually do appointment setting, right? How do you have conversations with leads? How do you do all that fun stuff? And before we really begin, like, the very first thing I want to touch point on here is, in setting and sales in general, it is never you against the prospect. I want to make that clear, okay? Because this is why sales reps like get a bad name, for example, because like people don't like being forced like products down their throat or anything. And the way you want to approach this is it's you and them against the problem, not you versus them, okay? So remember, you and the prospect, you're on the same team. You're trying to help them come into the appointment setting conversation with leading to serve. You're trying to help them, right? Find out if there's any problems they're facing right now that we can help them overcome. Both you guys are looking for a solution together, okay? That's a good mindset to have when it comes to actually doing setting, not just focus on money or trying to sell. You're just trying to help them. Focus on trying to figure out, does this person have a problem that we can help them overcome so we can help improve their life, okay? Now, for scripts, this is a big point I want to bring up, okay? For scripts, you shouldn't be using them. Instead, you should follow a framework, because your prospect you speak to, they're emotional human beings just like you are. So why act and treat them like a robot by using scripted replies or messages? Like, for example, if you're in a coffee shop speaking to a friend, are you just going to follow like a script for script, question, no acknowledgement, no like back and forth, just your simple question, and then CTA is, hey, let's get another coffee instead of booking a call? I hope that analogy made sense, but the point is, like, you're not going to do that in real life. Like, scripted messages don't work in conversations. While having a framework is way better, because you can really lead the conversation and say any sort of message you want, but you're saying specific things because you're following a framework, okay? So essentially, guys, scripts are essentially step-by-step templated replies that need to be followed word for word. While this is simple and very effective, it comes with downsides, like I mentioned. Lack of rapport building, right? Lack of building a genuine human connection. If you're just doing like scripted replies, a big thing for actually booking calls, guys, is building trust. And if you can't build any sort of connection in the DMs, for example, or on a phone setting role, the person won't maybe trust you or have enough like essentially trust or connection to want to book a call, because they didn't feel any good connection from you. You got to remember, these are human beings, so you want to actually speak to them like they're a human being, not a scripted reply robot, okay? But frameworks, however, are just guidelines, but you have specific targets on, you know, what you want to reach in a conversation. And I'll go over this now in a few minutes, but for example, a framework, you can focus on understanding their current situation, desired situation, roadblocks and problems. But more importantly, the way to get there is completely up to you. And this allows for a lot of, for example, room to innovate. So you can be creative, build rapport, a genuine connection with the prospect so they build more trust and want to learn more about how we can help them, right? Make jokes, have fun, and overall increase your chances of actually booking the call and, of course, closing that person while doing this. Because the more trust you build in the DMs, the more of a connection you guys build, it'll make the lead warmer. My own philosophy of setting is I want to make the lead warmer. So I essentially give an alley-oop to the closer. If I can make the lead warmer, have more trust in us, be excited about actually getting on this call to learn more about how we can help them, I've done a great job and I've made the closer's life way easier. So that's why frameworks are so much better. Now guys, what I'm going to break down next is actual framework you can follow, okay? These are all points in red of the step-by-step framework how you can follow. The very first one is the intro, okay? So let's say you start a conversation on maybe a DM setting role. To begin the conversation, of course, it's the intro. And let's say, for example, you maybe get an inbound DM. Let's say you're on like a fitness offer, you get an inbound DM. You might say something like, hey name, appreciate reaching out. What has you looking to get started with losing weight, for example? Would love to see if I can help point you in the right direction with this. Or if it's an outbound, so you reach out to them, same idea. Hey man, appreciate you following the content. Are you also interested, or are you also into losing weight, for example? Since that's what the majority of my followers are interested in. Again, these are just questions that you guys can like write them down if you want, like pause the video. But this is just essentially what a beginning of a conversation can look like. The whole idea here is not to jump in or try like spam booking links or pitch calls straight away. It's just to begin the conversation, right? Start the conversation, get things flowing, okay? Then once the intro has happened, you're talking to the person, the next part of the framework we want to focus on is situation awareness. And that's going to be essentially the prospect's current situation. We want to find out where they're at right now. And there's a really simple 3-step rule that you can follow that's never going to fail you. And I always do this in all my conversations. It's called the ARA rule, which is acknowledge, relate, ask a question. Remember, okay? Like the coffee shop example I gave a few minutes ago. If you're speaking to a friend in a coffee shop and you just ask your question in real life, it's going to feel like a police interrogation and not a conversation, right? But in real conversations, for example, you acknowledge what they say. Oh, okay, I see. And how did that go for you? That's acknowledging, right? Relating as well. Oh, yeah, I went through that too. I find that very difficult as well. So I get what you're coming from. Relating. And then asking a question. And the whole idea is because that just would make the prospect want to open up more because it's flowing better like an actual conversation. And that's what you want here. You want to really understand the prospect's current situation, where they're at right now, okay? And a few principles to follow is, for example, you can congratulate them. Like this is now when it comes to acknowledgement. And this takes a high level of awareness. And not everybody's able to do that. And the reason I say congratulate them is because let's say, for example, if you are a setter for maybe an e-com coaching offer and you're speaking to somebody who's already making 10K a month profit in their e-com business, but they want to get to 50K a month, instead of just saying, okay, gotcha, man, and how much capital you've set aside, like just straight into question, you can say something first like, gotcha, man. Well, first of all, getting to 10K a month profit is great progress so far. Most beginners I talk to struggle a lot. So well done to you so far in the progress you've made. And just out of curiosity, like right now, what do you feel like is the main thing stopping you from getting to 50K a month? Just to see if I can help point you in the right direction, okay? I still ask my question, but I firstly complimented them for the success so far. And that just makes a person feel good about themselves. And, you actually complimented them. They'll be like, oh, thanks, man. And just the conversation will flow better that way because they trust you more now. And there's just essentially more rapport built since you're not just trying to take, as in ask question, but you're also acknowledging. You're also being empathetic with them. And that will just make a prospect want to open up more because there's more trust, the conversation's flowing better, and there's more of a connection being built, okay? Next one is neutral language. And these would be, for example, saying, would it make sense? Would you be open to? Would it or that be useful? Do you think it would be helpful? And the reason I say that is because that's very neutral language. So if you're pitching a call, for example, which I'll touch on for a few minutes, instead of saying, hey, let's hop on a call, you can say, would you be open to hopping a call? Or do you think you'd find it helpful if we booked in a call to discuss how we can help you overcome XYZ problem? Would you be open to learning more how we could potentially help you so you can get to your goal faster? Neutral language, and it's like you're not like trying to force anything down. You're not saying, hey, let's get in a call, let me break down how I can help. You're asking, like, would you find it helpful if I were to break down for you how I could potentially help you get your XYZ goal sooner? Or for the current situation example in specific, you can say, for example, would you find it helpful, or would you be open to, if I was to ask you a couple of questions just to see if I can better understand where you're at so I can help point you in the right direction so you can get to your XYZ goal sooner, okay? You're asking permission, but like in a way of like you're not forcing anything to them, and it's very neutral language, and they're more likely to say yes, okay? And as well, mix your questions. So statements, stories, insights, mirroring what they said to make it conversational, okay? But overall, guys, the key to making this work is asking the right questions, because when it comes to finding out someone's current situation, you don't care about their time zone or how many rooms their house has or where they're from or how many dogs they have. Like, that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, right? Ask questions that will allow you to move the needle forward in the sales process and advance the conversation into the next step of the framework, okay? So for current situation questions, guys, I have some examples here. You guys can write them down. And these are just very general examples for really any offer. So you can say, for example, that's great. How long have you been into the industry for right now? Oh, wow. Since you've been into XYZ for 3 years now, I reckon you must be packed with clients. Or I love that. What made you want to get started with that in the first place? That's amazing. I can definitely see this as one of the most lucrative niches of the space. Was this always your niche, or specifically made you choose to help XYZ with ABC? All these questions here, guys, are just current situation. Like, for example, this one is to understand how long they've been doing this. Maybe if it's a e-com coaching offer, how long have they been doing it for? This one here, I really like this one, is you're actually seeing, like, you're assuming they must be packed with a lot of clients, and if they say no, then you're going to find a potential pain point, which I will touch on soon. But all these questions are just current situation. Where they're at now, what's their current situation, like what's the current version of themselves right now, what are they doing, where are they at right now? That's essentially what you want to do, okay? Then the next step of the framework process is goal awareness. And the main objective here is, now that you know their current situation, so exactly where they're at right now, what they're doing, like if it's a fitness offer, for example, you understand they're a 45-year-old man, they're fat, overweight, they've been overweight their whole life, they're working a job they hate. You understand where somebody is right now. Now we want to figure out what the goal is. And again, I just have some examples here of questions you can ask. You can write them down, guys, and if you like, but they're just examples. But the whole idea here is you want to figure out where they want to be. What's the goal? So you find the current situation. Now we want to find the goal. What's the ideal situation looking like for them? And as well as that, guys, sometimes the goal actually will not be good enough or big enough, the gap too small, because what you want to do in this whole thing, and the reason why I want you guys to look for goal awareness, is because we want to find out someone's current situation and then what's the desired situation. But more importantly, what's going to be the next step shortly is why they're not there yet. Find the problem, and this will build a gap, okay? And the reason I say this, sometimes the goal will not be enough, is let's say, for example, you're working on, let's say, an e-com offer. Somebody wants to start their own e-com business and their goal is to make 2K a month. That is extremely doable. You can probably get a job at McDonald's and make 2K a month, right? 2K a month is not hard to achieve, and it's not a big enough gap. While you could say something, for example, gotta do it. I mean, making an extra 2K a month is just around the corner for you. What's next once you get there? I imagine you're not going to be stopping at that. And then they'll say, oh yeah, I want to get to 30K a month or 40K a month ideally. And now you have a big goal. Okay, this is a very big goal they want to achieve, okay? And just as well, the reason why some people may say small goals is because it comes out of fear and scarcity most of the time, because most people can't really imagine themselves actually getting to bigger goals. It feels like there's a distant reality, and you need to be there for them to encourage them to think further. You need to show them that you believe in them even if they don't. Like, for example, with this message here, you know what I mean? Like, their goal of 2K a month, you're saying, oh, that's easy, bro. Super doable. What's next? And they're like, oh shit, I mean, I'd love 40K months. Do you mean you want to find a really, really big goal? That is what you really want to achieve here, okay? And once you find out the goal, so what they want to achieve, the next part then is problem awareness. And this is where your real skills are going to come into play, because for problem awareness, you need to understand like your position, right? You need to understand essentially where you're at and what your ammo is, okay? What you currently know about the person, and use that in a smart way that will maximize your chances of booking them in. And it takes a lot of high level of self-awareness from your end to go through this stage effectively and get good results with it. And when it comes to finding the problem, there's 3 steps you guys want to do. You want to figure out, firstly, what their roadblocks are. Again, the whole reason why we do this framework is first, current situation, where they're at right now. 2, desired situation, goal, what they want to achieve. But the thing is, this big goal they have, it's a goal. They haven't achieved it yet. So now we want to find out why. Why haven't they been able to achieve this goal yet? Once you find a roadblock, the next part then is clarify and dig deeper. That means really seeing, is there anything else? Is this problem they have just the main problem, or is there more as well? Is there more things holding them back? And then finally, double check and confirm. And this is essentially just to get confirmation from their end saying that yes, these are the main problems I'm facing with right now that stop me from getting to XYZ goal. And I'm going to break down for you guys now how you can do this in your own conversations. And firstly, the first part is like I mentioned, finding their roadblocks, okay? And once you find someone's current situation and then their goal, when it comes to finding problems or roadblocks they may potentially have, you always want to lead with value. Never just say, okay, what's your current struggles? Always lead with value behind your question. Like, for example, saying things like, I'd love to see if I can bring any value here, just see if I might be able to help. I'd love to see if I might be able to help point you in the right direction, just see if I can sprinkle some value. Like, for this is an example here. Let's say you're speaking to a lead and this is your message. You can say, what would you say is the missing piece or pieces that would allow you to get to that 100K per month run rate over the next 3 to 6 months? I'd love to see if I might be able to bring any value here, or at least help point you in the right direction, okay? So essentially you're asking the question of what's your struggle, but you're positioning it as, I'm asking so I can see if I can maybe bring any value or give you some insight to help you get there sooner. And they'll be more open then to sharing their roadblocks with you because you're leading with value, okay? Another example here is you can say, I'd love to see if I might be able to bring some value here, or at least help point in the right direction with this. What would you say is the main thing that's keeping you from actually starting out and making money in the online space? Whether it's an Amazon FBA, coaching business, whatever the offer you work with, right? Same idea. You're finding out, once you find their goal, what they want to achieve, find the roadblocks why they haven't achieved it yet. Again, always lead with value, because the prospect will be more open to sharing that with you since you're coming from a place of actually trying to help, okay? Now, next part then is clarify and dig deeper. And with this step, you want to dig deeper to make sure you know all of the prospect's roadblocks, right? Make sure we're not skipping anything, because if you say what's the biggest thing holding you back from getting to XYZ goal, they might say something, but actually there could be more. They just haven't said it. So you need to understand more. And I'll give you an example, okay? So let's say, example 1, you're speaking to a lead and the lead is struggling with lead gen and delivering good results to their client. So let's just say for this like mythical example, you're a DM setter for a business owner that helps online fitness coaches scale their business, right? And this online coach is struggling with lead gen and delivering good results to their clients. So in your message, when you find out the problem, you can say something like, got you, been there, done that myself. Again, that's acknowledgement and relating. And then you can say, just to make sure I understand, would you say that there could be anything else that's holding you back from getting to that 50K plus a month goal besides your lead gen on point and making sure your clients are getting the best possible results? And the reason I say this is because you're coming from a place of, okay, just to make sure I understand and heard you correctly, or make sure I interpreted correctly what you meant, would you say XYZ is the main thing holding you back from getting to your ABC goal right now? Or is there anything else on top of your mind that is preventing you from getting there too? And the reason we ask is because we want to find, is there any more pain points? Is there more pain points, more problems they're facing with? And the reason why we look for all of this is because we can leverage it later on when it comes to our call proposal to help them. And I will break that down now shortly on how we can do that. But that's how you want to clarify essentially and dig deeper. And once you find out, again, these are just more examples if you guys want to pause the video and write them down. But after you find any more, you want to double check, okay? And now you know all about the prospect at this stage. If you do everything correctly, you should understand the prospect's current situation, their goals, their pain points, as in problems, stopping them from getting to what they want to accomplish. So what's holding them back from getting to their goal, etc. And for here, we want to actually show the prospect that we understand them and that we listened. That's why we double check, okay? And also we want to make sure nothing is falling through the cracks. We're all on the same page, and bringing all their struggles into their immediate awareness and asking for confirmation on their end. And how this can look like is, again, I have some examples here. So let's use, for example, example 3, just as an example here. So let's say, for example, you're speaking to a lead and they're struggling with starting out and making money in the online space. So maybe it's one of those like B2C opportunities. Maybe you work for an offer that helps someone start their own online coaching business or AI agency, something like that, right? A good like B2C opportunity. And once you find out the problems they're having right now, stopping them from getting to their goal of maybe, for example, making 10K a month, you can say, got it. So what I'm hearing you say is that if you were to have a proven roadmap that would allow you to, I would give you all the actionable steps you need to take, as well as all the knowledge you need to have to be able to make this work, then there would be nothing else holding you back from getting to that 10K a month mark. Did I get that right? Okay. That's just an example of how you can do that. That's like a confirmation to just basically get them to confirm on their end. These are the main things right now you're struggling with, and you're saying if you had this, it would help you get to your XYZ goal. Is that right? Am I saying that right? And just a quick note as well, guys. This is not about them telling you all about this. It's about them telling themselves, bringing it into their own awareness. And that's how you build urgency, because now you're getting the prospect to think about the problems they're facing. At this point in the conversation, they're talking about the things holding them back from getting to their goal. And when you ask for confirmation, they are now saying like, yes, this is exactly what I'm struggling with. So you're getting confirmation on their end that these are the exact problems they face with and what they need to essentially help them overcome that, okay? And once we have all of this, we can now move into the call proposal, okay? And if everything's done right and you also nail down the call proposal, the chance of the prospect saying yes are very, very high. But it all, just most importantly, comes down to you being calm, being the leader and having sky high confidence. You don't want to make assumptions, be pushy, or make them feel forced. Now, to give you examples of what I mean, okay? A lot of setters will do very generic call proposals. Like, for example, they might say, let's hop on a call later this week so I can show you how to do XYZ. Or, are you free for a call this week so I can help you with XYZ? And the problem with this is it triggers a lot of sales resistance, and it gets them to get their guard up because you're being pushy by forcing them, hey, let's hop on a call. And you're being overly assumptive too, saying, so I can show you how to do XYZ. The reality is there might be a chance that you can't even help this person, so don't act like you can just help everyone. People sense it and they don't like it, right? Setters who are trying to rush call or just book as many calls as they can will do this. And with these call proposals, there's no reason as to why the lead should hop on. There's no value. You could argue for the fact and say, I'm saying here, are you free for a call so I can help you XYZ? But you're not getting confirmation from them on if they would like to get help with XYZ or if they'd like to hop on a call. You're just forcing it, okay? So essentially, you don't want to do that. And the way that I would approach call proposals instead is I have some examples here. You guys can write it down. But let's say, for example, I'll call out example 1. Lead is struggling with sales, getting new clients and team building. So maybe let's say say for example, same idea, you work for an online coach as a DM setter, and the leads they help with are other online coaches that are struggling to make 10k a month, just as an example, right? So in this certain case here, with this certain problem, the way I would probably structure my call proposal is say something like this. So, do you think it'd be helpful if we were to arrange a call with my right hand man and explore how and if we might be able to help you streamline all your processes, implement a strong strategy that would allow you to generate a stream of highly qualified leads that are excited to work with you, as well as build out a top-notch team to remove yourself from the day-to-day and start focusing on your zone of genius so you can get to 200k a month run rate within the next 3 to 6 months or even less, right? Or example 2, which is lead is struggling to start their own coaching business. So maybe the offer you work with helps people start their own coaching business. Again, your call proposal can be something like this. Oh, I see. Appreciate sharing this all with me, man. Do you think it'd be helpful if we were to set up a call together with my lead advisor and explore how and if we might be able to help you kickstart this coaching venture by implementing a strong strategy that would enable you to generate a constant stream of highly qualified leads, excited to work with you, and also make sure you're going to get them the best possible results so you can scale to this 20k a month mark within the next 2 to 3 months or even less. That is another example, okay? And I won't call out all the others, but the point is, the reason why you want to do this is because you're leading the call with value, okay? Remember, guys, when it comes to offering calls to leads, people don't just book in because you say, hey, at the top of the call to XYZ. What's in it for them? And if you can position the call as, on this call, we can break down how we could potentially help you overcome your current XYZ problems so you can get to your XYZ goals sooner. Would you find that helpful? People will be more open to it because you're leading with value, and this call will seem very valuable. You're positioning as it's going to be very valuable for them because it will directly impact them, as in help them overcome their problems so they can get to whatever goal they want. That's why I want you guys to follow all the framework step by step. Current situation first, desired situation, problems, really double check, see if there's any more problems as well, and then confirm everything from their end. And then you can move into a call proposal because you can leverage their pain points as your ammunition to offer a call. Essentially explaining, like in those examples there, how we can help you overcome your XYZ problems so you can get to your ABC goal of losing XYZ weight or scaling to 10k a month with your business way sooner. And if you essentially, guys, like follow it like this, you will book way more calls because the prospects will see the value and actually want to get in the call because they can directly see the benefit. And that'll increase your show rates, it'll increase calls booked, but more importantly, increase closed deals. All right, guys, so now what I want to do is I want to show you the framework in action. So what it could look like in an actual conversation with a lead. And for this example, we're going to use BizOp. So any sort of like business models whether it's helping someone start their own Amazon FBA business, YouTube automation business, drop shipping, closing, anything, okay? So let's just say, for example, it's an outbound lead. So my first message would be like, hey, name, appreciate you following the content. I've been doing this for a while now. I want to send over this video on how I scale my Amazon FBA store to 40k a month over the last 6 months. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. And the reason this is an example outbound message, but since you're reaching out to them, again, leading with value is always a great way to start a conversation. Always lead with value. Reach out for a reason that can benefit them. Don't just say, hey, thanks for following the content. Are you interested in getting my help? That's very salesy, right, in my opinion. But reaching out like this, for example, giving a free resource, it's value-based, okay? And the lead might say, thanks, I'll watch it when I get home tonight. And you can say, love it, happy to hear that. Are you all listening to Amazon already or just getting started now? Again, now we're moving into the current situation. But I can ask that because if I said that here in my outbound message, it could come across as pushy and salesy because this person hasn't reached out. But if you reach out first with value, the person will respond. There's a bit more trust as well since you're giving free resources. And then you can just kind of smoothly work into the conversation. And this message here is learning more about their current situation. So let's say the lead just says getting started, and you say, oh, that's awesome. What made you want to get started with this? We'd love to see if I can help point you in the right direction with this. Again, you're trying to figure out why they want to do this, more about the situation. The lead might say, I always love learning new things, and I think it's a very interesting industry. Made me curious. You can say, for example, oh, okay, got it. I totally understand what you're feeling. What are you hoping to achieve if you were to get started on an opportunity like this? Just see if I can bring any value to the table. Now it's a goal question. So now we really understand their current situation. They're just getting started. This question here was why they want to get started. Again, just more understanding about their current situation. What got them interested? Now it's goal time. What's the goal? The lead just says, let's say, for example, I really want to be able to quit my job and work remotely and travel the world. You can say then, for example, that's awesome. Help me understand though, like just to see if this even makes sense for you, how much would you be making per month to be able to quit your job and travel and live remotely? Again, you're trying to understand like how much they need to be making per month to, do this full time. That's a good understanding of a goal question. If it's, for example, here, 10K a month, you understand now 10K a month is the goal because that's how much they need to be making to be able to quit their job and travel the world. You can say then, love that. I remember when I hit my first 10K a month, I felt like I was on top of the world. That's just, again, just acknowledgements, building rapport. Now we're moving into the pain point. You can say, what would you say is the missing piece or pieces that are holding you back from getting there right now? That's, again, problem awareness. Now we're trying to find the problem. We understand the goal, which is 10K a month, and now we want to find the problem. Then the lead might say something like, it's mainly down to, I'd say, lack of knowledge, not knowing what to do. I feel kind of lost in the entire process and don't know where to start. You say then, for example, right. And I guess if you were to have a proven framework in place that would not only give you the clarity and knowledge that you need to start, but also the confidence you're going to be able to reach your goals, would you say there's anything else holding you back? Again, that's now trying to dig deeper. Is there any problems right now? So their main problem right now, stopping them from getting to 10K a month, is the lack of knowledge on knowing what to do. They're just lost. And I'm asking, is there anything else? Or is that the main thing, essentially? The lead says, no, I don't think so. I have the knowledge and roadmap that I can easily put into practice and stick with it. Amazing. Then what you can say is, got it. So what I'm hearing you say is that if you were to have a proven roadmap that would follow, that you give all the action steps you need to take, as well as all the knowledge you need to be able to make this work, then there would be nothing else holding you back from hitting that 10K a month mark. Did I get that right? And then the lead says, yes, it's very accurate. I'd love to be able to do that. Again, this is the confirmation question. You're just asking to confirm everything they've said. I'm following the framework. I'm asking, is there anything else that would be stopping you getting to the 10K a month mark? And once you find that out, you can say something, for example, that's awesome. Do you think it would be helpful if we were to set up a call together and explore how and if I might be able to help you start your own Amazon FBA store, help you implement the proven roadmap, and pass down all my knowledge to you so you can scale up to 10K a month within the next 4 to 6 months or less. The lead might say, yes, that'd be very helpful, thanks, and then boom, call proposal. Easy, okay? And again, I don't want you guys to just copy this conversation for your own conversations, but it's an example of the framework in action. You can watch this as many times as you need, but I hope you can see in the actual conversation, the whole time I was following the framework. I found out their current situation. How long have they been looking into doing Amazon FBA for? What made them interested in the first place? All current situation. Then I wanted to figure out the goal, what they want to achieve. They want to quit their job and travel the world. Okay, amazing. And how much would you need to be able to do this? 10K a month. Boom. I have a tangible goal now. They want to make 10K a month. What's holding them back from getting there is the lack of knowledge. They don't know what to do. This is the problem. Then I double checked and tried to dig deeper. Is there anything else holding you back, or would just the lack of knowledge, not knowing what to do, be the main thing? They say, no, that's it. You clarify and confirm, okay, gotcha. It's just so I fully understand what you're saying and we're on the same page. The main thing stopping you from getting to 10K months right now with your own Amazon FBA store is down to the fact that you don't have the right knowledge and guidance needed on what to do so. So if you had a proven roadmap, there's nothing else that would be holding you back from getting to 10K a month. Yes, that's right. Then you propose a call because you understand everything, their whole situation, but most importantly, like in my call proposal here, I leveraged their situation. So I really leveraged the fact that like we can get on a call and I can break down for you how I can help you create a proven roadmap so you can get to your XYZ goals. Because the big thing she mentioned was lack of guidance, not knowing what to do. So giving her a proven roadmap, she confirmed, or I don't know why I'm saying this needs a she. For some reason I just jumped to a girl, but I keep going. She said this is what, she would need, and you're leveraging that for a call proposal. If she wants, to get a proven roadmap to help her, let's break down how we can help her create a proven roadmap. Okay, always mirror back essentially their struggle. But that is the framework in action. Again, it's not going to be the same for every conversation, guys. You can ask the questions like whatever way you like, but essentially follow the framework. So that's how you lead a conversation. That's how you can book in leads. But you can ask the questions whatever way you like. You can have fun with it, but keep in your mind current situation, goal, problem, dig deeper. Once I find all the problems, clarify and confirm, is this exactly the main thing stopping you from getting to where you want to get to? And if so, leverage all of that to offer a call. That was module 2, guys, on just conversation framework. So now at this point in the course video, you understand the right expectations needed for appointment setting, also a framework you can follow on how to actually do setting. Now it's time we move into how to find and land your first appointment setting job, okay? And really, guys, the fastest and easiest way to actually find a job is just simply by investing into a mentor with a proven network, right? And the reason why this works is because the mentor already has relationships, for example, with the business owners. They have vet opportunities. So essentially they can like plug and play you into good offers, and they know as well which ones to avoid, like which ones are bad offers, so you only get good ones. And this can save you literally months of trial and error, dozens of ignore applications, and hundreds of cold DMs that essentially don't go nowhere. Because the truth is, the fastest way to land your first appointment setting job or your next one is to work with someone who already has access to opportunities that you want. So you can essentially just apply for roles way sooner. So if you want to get one-to-one help with landing a very good appointment setting role, I myself personally offer that to my own one-to-one students. So if you want to learn more, you can book a call with me. The link will be in the description. However, if you want to learn more about how you can actually build your own network and create a pipeline of opportunities for yourself, this is exactly how I do it, okay? And the first thing here is this is a very outdated method that I want to touch on, is cold DMing business owners, okay? You want to stop doing this in 2026 because back in like maybe early 2025, 2024, 2023, this worked. But the thing is though, business owners rarely check their DMs. A lot of setters will outreach to business owners. Hey, are you hiring a setter? I want to apply for you, etc. But online coaches, for example, they don't really check their DMs. They're not actively looking for setters. The best offers don't. Now, some people may respond to you, but the coaches who do respond to you a lot of the time are smaller businesses that may not be the best ones to work with, but good offers, the business owners don't check DMs. And what's most important here as well is they always hire from their network. Business owners hire setters from their network, not cold DMs. They would rather go with someone they know from their network that they trust compared to a complete stranger that they don't know who outreached them, okay? And again, another thing as well, setters do not get hired by business owners. They get hired by the people who run their sales team. Now, of course, some business owners do hire setters, but majority of the time, from what I've seen, the biggest and best offers in the space have sales managers, sales directors, setter managers, people who manage and train the sales team for them. So those are the people that actually would hire setters. So what I'm actually going to talk about now is, instead of outreaching to business owners themselves on Instagram, you actually want to outreach to people who hire sales reps for the business owners. And what these people look like is, for example, sales managers, setter managers, growth operators, sales directors, appointment setting team leaders. All these lists of people here are people essentially who always hire appointment setters and closers for businesses, right? So these are the kind of people that you want to reach out to, because firstly, with business owners, guys, like, they're too busy running a business or dealing with clients to like message back a seller in the DMs. While these people specialize in hiring sellers and are always looking for people. And also, the only people who follow sales managers and seller managers are other people in the space. So it's way more likely you will actually get seen if you reach out to them rather than a business owner. Because a big reason why cold DM to business owner doesn't work anymore is because of the fact that most sellers don't get seen by the business owner, since the business owner doesn't really use their DMs much, right? While these people do. They don't have a big following and they only follow people in the space. So you're way more likely to get seen, okay? Now, the next thing is how you can actually create your own pipeline of opportunities. And what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to basically break down exactly how you can find these people on Instagram, how to like find good job postings, all that stuff. All right, guys. So real quick, I wanted to show you how you can find these business owners on Instagram. So you can, of course, follow them and apply for roles through them. And it's all going to be done through Instagram. So firstly, here's my own personal profile. And what I want you guys to do is make sure you have a nice profile too, okay? Like with me, all these pictures here, they're all strategic for me because I want to look professional on my Instagram. So if I, for example, want to connect with other seller managers and sales managers for myself, I want to have a nice professional looking profile on Instagram. And I want you guys to make sure you have the same, because if you have, for example, no profile pic, no pictures, people won't take you serious. Or if you have pictures of you, like, for example, like drinking like 10 pints of Heineken and like just like partying like in a bad way, like, I don't know, maybe like a high school party of you getting really drunk. Point is, any pictures of you that don't make you look presentable or professional, again, people won't take you very serious. So your pictures don't have to look exactly like mine, but just the vibe I'm going with is just a professional looking laid out Instagram. So I would advise you guys to do this first before reaching out to anybody. If there's any professional looking photos of you, or if you don't have any, you can take some, right? Maybe if you went out for a nice dinner with like a nice suit on, for example, you can use that. Or if you went to a wedding, for example, and you had a nice outfit on, you can use that. Really anything. Or even if you went for a hike and you wanted to show that, it also shows you're an adventurous person. Anything that makes you look good or professional is perfect, okay? Now, for actually finding people, what I want you guys to do is go into my own following list, okay? These people here are people that I personally follow because I follow seller managers, sales managers, and all these people, okay? And again, here's a great example. This person here, boom, manage 5 to 6 figure sales teams. This person here I know is a seller manager, okay? And he's somebody who would post job opportunities on his story when he's hiring for sellers. Then again, if we go back, here's another person. Again, boom, training sales teams. He's an appointment setting consultant. Again, another appointment setting manager. This guy too will also post job postings. So go to my following list, guys. You can follow these people. And once you've found tons of sales managers and everything, follow them. And once they post job opportunities in their story, it'll pop on your own feed and it'll be like your own pipeline of opportunities you can apply for. Also, if you've followed everybody that I personally follow and you run out of people, what you can do is just simply press this button here, which is going to be recommending you more accounts. And you can just start scrolling essentially through here and you'll find other accounts that will be similar. And you'll find more sales managers and seller managers as well that they personally follow, or you can go into their following list and the same thing. Just keep scrolling and looking for more people and you'll find more sales managers. But that's what I would do for Instagram, guys. Very simple, but that's how it works from Instagram perspective. All right, everybody. So now we are going to start module 4. So far we've covered the right mindset, expectations you need, conversation framework, how to find jobs. Now that you know all of that, I want to focus on how you can actually apply and pass for these jobs. Because of course, you'll have to take interviews and you want to make sure that you actually pass them. so you can land these roles. And the very first thing I want to cover is Loom Video Guide for sales job applications, okay? Because in the application process for a setting role, you will have to film a Loom video. That's usually the very first thing. So once you apply for a role, like in the application process, the business owner will ask you, like, can you film, for example, a 60, 90-second video talking about you, your experience, or why should we hire you? Essentially, it's like an introduction to you, right? And if a business owner likes your Loom video, then they'll invite you to an interview to speak directly with you, okay? And for a Loom video, essentially the structure you guys want to give, very simple. Have a framework you guys can follow. Intro, so introduce yourself, background and experience if you have any, relation to the offer, and then CTA, okay? Now, to go into a bit more detail, this is what it can look like. So for your Loom video, for the introduction, firstly, smile, make eye contact, use upbeat, clear energy. Because with these Loom videos, it doesn't really matter what you say. What's most important is how you show up and how you say whatever you're going to say. And energy is the most important thing. So making sure you show that you have good energy is going to be crucial here, okay? So let's just give an example. You can say, for example, hey, name, I'm Ben, based out of Ireland, and I'm interested in becoming your next killer setter. I'm excited to get started and working with your team. Something like that. And saying it with good energy and confidence, that's a good way to start, okay? And then once you introduce yourself, the next thing then is your background and experience. And essentially, this is going to be a bit more about you. And more importantly, you want to just highlight your experience, no matter what your experience actually is, okay? So focus on, for example, like duration, industries, like client value, numbers, achievements. What that all means is, let's say, for example, if you have any sort of setting experience, instead of just saying, oh, I work as a setter for XYZ people, give clear numbers. I was a setter for a fitness coach for 6 months and I generated over $300,000 cash collected in my time there. Something like that. Or if you have specific stats, I was a setter, again, fitness coach and I generated 300K cash collected with an average of a 50% close rate on all my calls that I booked with an 80% show rate. Those are crystal clear numbers that can show a business that you know what you're talking about and you understand the process, which will make them more confident in potentially working with you, okay? And even as well, guys, I want to just say this. If you don't have sales experience, like if you don't have anything like that, no KPIs, nothing like that, leverage anything else you may have. Like if you, for example, have strong emotional intelligence, you can leverage that and say, I have a lot of experience, for example, in just like speaking to people, and with emotional intelligence, I understand like how to approach conversations based on the person's personality type or the tone of the conversation, how they're speaking to me. So I make sure that I am essentially asking the right questions and phrasing them the right way that works for them, right? Even that's perfect. So anything at all, even customer service, if you worked in that in the past, the whole idea is you want to show in any way that you're a top performer. If you don't have specific setting experience, that's fine, but any experience at all that can show you're a top performer. So even if you're a secondary school or high school teacher, and if your classes, for example, got the best grades, leverage that and explain how you help, how your classes were the best grade classes in the whole school, and that means you're a top performer. You can explain how you did it, and it shows you're a top performer because you were the top one, right? That's what people look for as well. So if you can show that in any way, fantastic. Now, the next thing, which is very important, is you want to explain why this company, okay? Because having, showing your experience, whatever, is good, but why are you applying for this role in specific? That's what the business owner wants to know as well. And for this, you want to just really show that, you did your research on their business, their audience, their vision, their offer, but more importantly, why you're a perfect fit for their team. And you could say something like, I know I'd crush it for you guys at Fitness Launch. Let's say you're working for a fitness, you want to become a setter for a fitness company. And you can say, the reason why I want to work with you guys is because I really resonate with your mission to help young guys build better physiques, because I myself am a young guy and I used to be very skinny, but now I have a good physique myself. I went through the journey. I know the pain those people are feeling right now. So for myself, coming into a business that's helping other young men build better physiques, it's going to be very like passionate work for me, because it's what I've done myself and I want to help others win and get better physiques. So I would work even harder because I'm doing work and helping people that I believe in, right? Something like that. That's just top of my head. But again, that's very customized. Why would you be a good fit for this company is what they're looking for. And then finally, call to action. You want to end off the interview, or end off the Loom video, saying something like, thanks for watching, name. I'm available anytime after 11 a.m. EST for Tuesday to Friday for an interview. If you want to take the next step, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Boom. Very simple. End it off with CTA like that. And for your Loom video, keep this in mind, okay? You want to keep it short, so 60 to 90 seconds. Dress clean and professional, so like don't just like have an iPhone camera like in the toilet, like in a really bad place. Point is, look professional, have just nice clothes on. You don't need a suit, just nice clothes on, good background, like good camera. Have, of course, good lighting as well, tidy background. Smile, speak clearly, because energy matters more than polish. And overall, just most important advice I give you guys is just don't overthink it. Just go for it, right? Don't follow a script and don't be super serious in your Loom video, right? Just be you. Like the framework I gave you there is what you can follow, but say it whatever way you like, okay? Because the best Looms are the most authentic ones, where people share and show their energy, okay? So just be authentic, be you, and have fun. You know what I mean? Like, don't put so much pressure on this Loom as it's a deciding factor if you get the job or not. You can apply for as many jobs as you want. Have fun, be yourself, be authentic, because that will actually help you instead of following a script. Now, for section 2, guys, this is going to be how to actually pass the interview. So let's say, for example, you made your Loom, the business owner liked it, they invited you to an interview, happy days. What now? Okay? And the first thing you want to do is you want to do deep research before the interview and funnel hack everything. Because before the interview, you guys should have a very good understanding of, in my opinion, all these points here. What type of person does the business owner help? What do they actually sell? What's their ICP? So basically their leads. What's their client's biggest problems? How does this business owner's program solve those problems? The transformation they promise, social proof, tone, brand and voice, all those things. Because if you come to the interview already understanding how the business works, but more importantly, their clients' biggest problems, how they help their clients overcome XYZ problems, the interviewer will already feel way more confident in you because you already understand the business. And that will show that you actually took the time to research and study, which makes you show up and look more serious, and they will feel more trustworthy in picking you because you already took initiative and did research before the interview. So you're very prepared for essentially whatever questions they ask you about their business. And like I mentioned, that's exactly why this matters. You come across as prepared, you look serious about the role, and they're going to trust you more. But more importantly, the reason why this is such a strong idea is because you can actually do a live role play with this. Because on interviews, most interviewers, seller managers, sales managers, they will ask for a role play to test your appointments and skill set. So if you understand their ICP, so who their ideal client is, the problems they face with, how they help them overcome these problems, what usually are their clients' goals they want to achieve that the business owner helps them get to, you're going to be in a very good position, which leads me to my next point, which is building a mini appointment setting script. Okay. So with this, essentially the whole idea is the reason why you want to research the business as well is so you can create a simple role play script for yourself. This is what I did when I landed my first big Airbnb. I landed a DM setting role with a big Airbnb offer. That's what got me my success with appointment setting. And for the interview, I did exactly this. I researched the kind of people they help. So it was 9-to-5ers who want to quit their job and start their own Airbnb business. So I made a simple framework script that I could use for the role play that is directly asking questions to people who want to quit their 9 to 5 job and start their own Airbnb business. Following the framework I gave you guys, but personalizing it towards people who want to start their own Airbnb business. And what this does is it shows the seller manager, sales manager, whoever's interviewing you, that you already, firstly, can have a good conversation that makes sense for their business, because you're asking good questions that that you would ask their prospects. Or another way as well, actually, top of my head, is if you want to as well really understand their own DM process. If it's a big business owner, you could create like a second Instagram account and just reach out to that business owner posing as a lead. And if they have another setter on the team, you can see how the setter speaks to you, what the questions are, and then just write them down and just have them for your own like role play. So when you do the role play on the interview, you have a script of exactly the framework and questions that the current setter on the team is already doing, and you can just embody that, and it'll show them, oh my god, he's identical, this guy's going to be perfect for the role. So that's why you want to do it. But essentially, again, these are just kind of questions, examples of, like, let's say for example, if you were on an interview for a fitness offer helping people lose weight, these are questions that you could ask, for example. And overall, it just shows all these things here, right? If you come up firstly understanding the business already, how they do things, etc., it shows you took initiative. If you have a good role play that like is very congruent and very similar to how either their current setter already speaks or the questions you ask make sense to the business owner's ICP, it'll show them you have a good understanding of the offer, alignment with their audience, and they'll just trust you way more because you'll come across really, really good. So that's what I would do. That alone can win you the interview, guys. This is fucking gold. So if you do this, you'll be ahead of most setters who never do this, okay? And the next point I want to bring up is having a strong why, okay? And this is where most beginners fail, because most beginners on interviews will say things like, oh, I want to make money, I'm a hard worker, I love sales, etc. But so does everybody else. Do you know what I mean? Like, what makes you different is the question. Like, these are all generic answers that really anybody can answer. But what makes you different is you, okay? And the example I have here with my client, Kenan, the reason why I want to say this is because I want to give you guys a quick story. I had a client, his name was Kenan, and he was applying for a DM setting role for like a fitness offer. It was a group interview. There was like 10 other applicants on the interview, but the setter manager actually ended up choosing him. And the only reason why is because Kenan had the strongest why. All the rest of them were saying, oh, I like setting, I want to make more money, blah, blah, blah. But Kenan's here, for example, his why was firstly, he worked 10 years in construction from 18 to 28, straight from school. He worked for the last 10 years and he hated, for example, waking up early, and he felt no fulfillment because he was working a job that he didn't enjoy and he was tired of it because he wanted to be able to have freedom and travel the world. He went on a vacation to Thailand and he got just a feeling of what freedom could look like. So once he got back home to Ireland, he realized, okay, this is exactly what I want. And he did research, and what he found out, and he figured out that appointment setting would be the right vehicle for him to help him get to that state where he can travel the world and enjoy life more. So he's willing to do anything he needs to do to make this succeed because he's tired of working a job. He wants to have more freedom. So whatever setting role he gets, he will put in the work because he wants to make it a reality to move to a different country, travel, and just enjoy life more, and also do more fulfilling work, like actually working with a company that helps people rather than just like his construction job where he was just clocking in, clocking out, bad environment where he hated it. And the reason why this worked so well is because, you see, he said it with such conviction. Since it's his own why, he said it with such conviction himself that he's going to put in the work because of what he said. The setter manager felt that energy and I was like, wow, like this guy is serious. Like there's going to be way more trust with that, okay? And as well, your why, guys, it needs to show, for example, genuine emotion, like a deep reason to succeed, like Kenan, for example, and also long-term thinking and hunger. That is what gets you chosen, okay? Now, for point number 4, it's going to be bring strong energy, confidence, and belief in yourself. I want to make it very clear, guys. To be an appointment setter for these interviews, you don't have to be perfect or very experienced or extremely knowledgeable. However, you do need to have confidence in your ability to learn, belief in your work ethic, energy that shows you're serious, and also conviction in your voice as well. And again, I have another example here. I had a friend, his name was Louis, and this guy, a year ago, he was 18 years old, brand new to setting, never did it before, and he wanted to land his first setting role. And he was doing outreach, looking for roles, and he got on an interview with a setter manager. And the setter manager wanted somebody with experience, but Louis basically told him, look, I am fresh out of high school, I'm 18 years old, I want to do setting because I don't want to go to university, and I don't have any experience of doing setting yet. However, if you take a chance on me, I will become your top setter in the next few months, 1,000,000%, because the work ethic and the coachability is there for me. I want to do the best I can. I want to become successful at this, and I'm willing to give it my all. I will work 10-hour days if needed. I have the time. I want to commit my full time to this, make good money, so I can actually not have to go to university, not go on a 9-to-5 route, because this is what I want. And he said it with such, again, conviction and confidence that, look, he doesn't have previous experience in setting, but he told their manager, I will be your next top setter in the next few months on this role because the work ethic is there. I will put in the work and I'm coachable. I want to learn. I want to get better. So I'm like a sponge. I will absorb everything you tell me, which will ultimately get me better. And then that worked. The setter manager took him on and he got to 5K months and he did become top setter. And again, that's a great example of just leveraging your energy and the conviction. If you come across confident like this, like the Louis example, somebody will take a chance on you, like 1,000,000%. But overall, guys, the final summary on how to pass the interview, I just have some points here, just basically like bullet points up from all the points I covered. Firstly, research the business deeply so you really understand their process. Build like a custom DM script for ICP so you can use for role play. Have a strong real why. Bring strong belief and energy like into the interviews, for example. Leverage any relevant skills. Show work ethic. Speak with confidence and show initiative and preparedness, right? Do this and you'll stand out from most appointment setters. I guarantee it, because most setters don't do this. And if you do this, watch this video, you will do a whole lot better. Now, the next thing I want to talk about as well is key questions you should ask in every appointment interview, because all the points I gave you were great, but for yourself, you want to make sure that you're actually getting a role that is actually going to be a good one. Do you know what I mean? Where you can actually make good money. And the way I would do this is firstly, ask on the interview, what's the vision of the company? What are you guys trying to build right now? Like, where is this business going to be in the next 1 to 5 years? Like, what's the mission statement? The reason why you ask these questions is because you want to see, like, where is this business going? Are they just short-term thinking, trying to make money quick on a new biz opportunity? If so, probably isn't the best role to go with. Or are they actually trying to create impact? Like, for example, the Airbnb offer that I landed myself when I was a setter, I stayed there for a year, and the business owner's mission statement was they wanted to revolutionize the UK and help as many people in the UK quit their jobs and start their own Airbnb business. They wanted to become the leading Airbnb coaches in the UK. That's a strong why from them. So you're coming to a business with a strong mission statement, a strong vision that it's exciting to work for. And they will be here long term. So they're not short-term thinkers. They're here for the long term, right? If you find a business that doesn't have a good long-term value mission, it probably won't work out in my opinion, because they are just, short-term thinkers. They'll be gone in a few months. While long-term people like that, much better company to work with because you can stay there long term. Now, next thing is going to be KPIs. You want to understand, what KPIs do I have to follow in the setting role? Like, what numbers define a successful setter for your team? These are very specific KPI questions, which every setter / sales manager on an interview should tell you, and that'll give you an indication of what your day-to-day could look like. And on top of that, the earning potential too, right? Let's say, for example, if this business you're going to apply for has other setters, you can ask like, how much did the top setter make last month? Or like, what's a realistic earning range, to make with a high performance? Or if there's no current setters, you could ask, for example, if I hit all the required inputs from my end and hit KPIs, how much can I realistically expect to earn every month as a setter here? And the reason why I want to ask those questions, guys, is because you want to get an understanding of how much money you can actually make. Asking the sales manager or setter manager directly on the interview, even if, for example, on the application it says, it's a role we can make 3 to 4K a month, still asking on the actual interview these questions, they will tell you straight up what is possible. And if they tell you, yes, if you hit KPIs and do all the inputs needed from you, you can make between 3 to 4K a month in commissions. Boom, fantastic. You know now this is a good role for you to take on where you can actually make money. So always make sure you ask these questions on the interview for yourself, so you can make sure for yourself, if you decide to take this like role on, it's actually going to be a good one. Now, the next one as well, this is super important as well, is training, leadership, and support. Because as a setter, for you to actually perform really well, you need to have somebody giving you feedback and helping you. You can't just become amazing with no feedback or help, right? Especially if you're new. So coming to a team, making sure there's a sales manager there to help you, or a setter manager, like asking questions like, for example, is there daily team meetings, 2 to 3 team calls per week? Can I get regular feedback from a setter manager? And you want to ask these questions because if there's a good support system for you, you will perform better because you have somebody to help you. While if you don't and you're just on your own, it's going to be hard for you to actually make the money you want to make because there's no one there who can help you. You're on your own, just trying to figure it all out. You'll make mistakes, but the biggest problem you'll find is you'll do things that you don't even know about. As in, you don't know what you don't know. Like if you had a setter manager there to help you, they might see something you don't see, which will help you perform better. But since you'll be on your own, you won't see that, right? So making sure you pick an offer with a good support system will help you make more money since you have someone there to help you. And then finally is company culture. And the reason I say this is because a business could have all the other points, but if the culture is shit and it's a terrible environment to work in, it's not going to be a good business to work with. They could have great leads, great systems, but it'll be a horrible place to work with, right? Like with me, when I worked as a setter full time, the business I was with, the Airbnb offer, they had a fantastic culture. Everybody was like one big unit, great energy. We were all helping each other. All the setters and closers on that team, we were all like striving towards like hitting record months. And whenever we had a payment come through on Slack, for example, we'd be like, hey, let's go, like, well done. Like we were always like help each other out and like on each other's backs in a good way, right? And just having that good positive energy of like a full team, we're working together, we're congratulating each other, like, we're in this together, it makes you want to perform better. Well, for me anyway, it did, right? So making sure the company has a good culture and understanding what the culture is, because if it's a bad culture and it's a toxic environment where people are against each other, or closers or setters are fighting over the same leads, like it won't be a nice place to work with. I know from experience. So make sure the business is a good company culture because it'll make you enjoy your time there way more. Now guys, we are at the final module of this course. So for the whole video so far, I've broken down the mindset expectations you need to have, framework, how to find jobs and everything. Now it's the A-player setter, okay? So for this section, this is for when you actually have an appointment setting job, right? Once you're in a setting role, how can you perform to the highest level, right? And the very, very first thing here is A-player setters are adaptable, right? A-players don't whine, they don't blame the market, they don't point fingers at leads or marketing or circumstances, they adapt. And a big reason why I say this, guys, is because there will be times when you're a setter where things are hard, right? Maybe for example, ads get shut down, marketing goes bad, there's no new leads. What do you do then? Bad setters complain and don't put in any work, while A-player setters adapt to whatever situation you're given to still try make things work, okay? And that's what makes an A-player setter, as the first point, is adaptable. So whatever problem you have, always adapt. Instead of dwelling on problems or blaming problems, look at saying, okay, what can we do differently, or what can we do to still get good results? Like, for example, if you're in a setting role, marketing is down, ads go down, okay. Maybe you can look at, for example, reaching out to older leads to try re-engage conversations for the time being. Adapting the situations to still get good results is what A players do. Okay. Number 2 is constant skill sharpening. A player setters, they don't get complacent and just get lazy, right? They're always working on getting better. Okay. Like, for example, the best setters I've seen who are making, for example, 4 or 5K plus a month, they always look at, conversations that didn't go well and say, okay, what could I have done differently here? So they review their own conversations or their own phone calls with their phone setter to see where I could improve. A player setters are constantly skill sharpening. So always focusing on getting better and improving your skill set, because that will help you make even more money. The better skills you get, the more money you will make. Number 3 then is a killer mindset, okay? Because as a setter, you will get tired, right? You're going to speak to hundreds of people every single week, where it's on phone setting, DM setting role. Some people will ghost you, waste your time, ask like stupid questions or are rude. And A players understand this is normal. It's part of the job. And this is what separates amateurs from professionals, okay? Because every single dial or DM and every book call is one step closer to your why, okay? And to explain that further, guys, when you come to a point when you're setting where maybe you're unmotivated one week, you're speaking to tons of leads, it's hard, you don't want to put in the work, you're tired, always remember your why, okay? Whatever your why is watching this video, whether it's to retire your mom or to travel the world or create massive impact for a certain group of people, whatever your why is, obviously you started setting to get towards that. So when you feel tired, always remember your why as to why you're doing this, and that will help you stay motivated because you're working towards a much bigger reason, okay? Once people burn out, and if people burn out and people lose motivation, a lot of the time it's because they forget their why they're doing this. They're just working directionless. But if you remember your why and your mission as to why you did this, you will keep going because you have a bigger goal to achieve, essentially, right? Now, point number 4 is going to be pull every lever. A player setters, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, but A player setters do everything in their power to make sure the deal closes, right? They don't rush conversations. They don't try and book as many people as they can. They do everything in their power to set up the perfect alley-oop for the closer. So in the conversations, for example, they work on building trust with the prospect, confirming urgency, as in, is getting help with overcoming certain XYZ problem a priority right now? Qualifying properly, right? Creating desire. Essentially, really, or even prepping the lead for the call, sending any pre-call training so they can show up to the call very well informed. A player setters do everything they can to book a really good qualified lead in the call. So again, focusing on inputs and the right things that you need to do to make the sale inevitable, right? A players focus on that because they know if they book really good qualified leads, even if it's only, for example, 3 to 4 calls a day, these people are very likely to buy since you qualified them properly. And overall, you'll make more money doing that way. Now, finally, the last point here is they love feedback, okay? A player setters understand that feedback is growth, criticism is improvement, coaching is speed, and correction is mastery. They don't get defensive and they don't take things personally. They know if someone cares enough to critique me, they'll help me become the best, okay? To become better as a setter, guys, you need to take on feedback from a setter manager, sales manager. Always look for feedback because getting outside help will help you improve better. And the more you improve, the better you'll get. And ultimately, the more money you make. And then finally, with this point as well, this is the final point here. And it's we sell the call and the closer, not the offer. A-player setters don't try and solve the lead's entire life in DMs. They know their mission, not to coach, not to close, but to bridge. So they sell curiosity, the possibility, the value of the call, the trust in the closer. They sell the transformation pathway, not the full transformation. Like a kind of a analogy I put here is a player says, I don't give away the movie, I sell the trailer, and the right trailer makes the call non-negotiable. So essentially in DMs, guys, you're not trying to sell anything. You're not trying to pitch like the product or try to close somebody in the DMs or on a phone sending role. You're trying to sell them on the call. And how you do that is really understanding them, their problems, how you could potentially help them, and then positioning the call as this thing that can help them overcome this problem. So maybe, like, for example, breaking down on the call, we can break down how we can help you overcome XYZ problem so we can get to ABC goal a whole lot sooner. Would you find that helpful, right? That's selling the call and making it valuable to the lead. And that's what A players do essentially. But for summary, this is the A player way of setter. Just an overall summary of what I discussed. A player setters, they believe every lead is warm, right? If any lead reaches out, you can help them. There's no such thing as a cold lead if they reach out to you. Everyone's warm, you can help everybody, and that's the kind of position you want to focus on when you're setting, okay? Adapt instead of complain. So whatever the situation is on your role, you're always adapting to still try to get good results. Sharpening their skill daily, so always work on getting better. Operating with a killer mindset, pulling every lever to make sure you do everything you can to actually book good calls. Take on feedback, master frameworks, and sell the call, not the offer. And these traits make the difference between a normal setter and someone earning 5 to 10k months consistently. Just with those simple shifts, you will do a whole lot better. But guys, congratulations. If you're still here watching this video, you have officially done it. You've watched my full appointment setting course. Firstly, I hope you guys found it very, very valuable, because I fully believe if you follow everything I've said in this video and take action on it, there's no reason why you can't become a successful appointment setter in 2026. Now, at this point, you really have like two options for yourself, right? So first, you can go out there and do this on your own. So essentially take all the information I gave in this video, apply it, and just go out there, try find roles. Or if you want help with hitting your goals way faster and getting a role way sooner, I myself personally offer one-to-one mentorship to people who want to get help with landing their first appointment setting role as soon as possible, right? So if you want to work personally with me to learn more about that, I have my own calendar link in the description. You can book a call with me and we can talk more about it. But either way, I appreciate you watching the video. I hope you guys found it very, very helpful. And I will see you all in the next video.